that exist that we have access to now for reasons that we'll ask Lisa about. We'll keep that mystery open. And I think even the reasons why we have access even more now is expanding. But it's all part of discovering the key to access our soul purpose and remembering who we're working with, what's encoded, how that gets translated. So we're going to go into all that and more. We're going to take live Q&A. This is an extremely special offer from Lisa that I'm excited to share with you because it is deeply discounted and it's really something that's going to empower you tremendously. So who's Lisa? Lisa is internationally recognized. She's a best-selling author of The Infinite Wisdom of the Akashic Records and From Questioning to Knowing, 73 Prayers to Transform Your Life. She's the founder of the Akashic Knowing School of Wisdom, where she has taught thousands of students worldwide to access personal soul wisdom and guidance to transform their lives. And Lisa has been in the stew, stirring the pot, awakening, and there's a speeding up and an access that we were talking about before y'all came on live on the call. And Lisa, I want to get into that part of the conversation and begin. There's like, what are you noticing in this? And by the way, welcome to the show. I know we've been talking for 10 minutes, but thank you for being here. But as we dive in, you're being called so many different places and so many things are coming alive, and your expertise, and I'll call it the codes that you have and how you share them, are being requested more publicly now more than ever. What's happening?
Well, I would generally say this is the time that most of us light workers have actually been waiting for. And, I have honestly been waiting for this for 60 plus years, not to, and it has been a long time coming. So, I remember, even in 2012, so many of us thought, oh, here it is, right? And now it's 2024. And I am going to say it actually is really the time, because over these last 50 years, really, we have been working diligently to unravel inverted conscious, programming that has literally kept us imprisoned, is actually the word that I'm hearing. And so we have finally unwritten enough of it. And again, one of the things I love to do in the Akash is to unwrite stuff, deprogram things. And as it turns out, which is, to me, they're interesting things. Life is actually so much more interesting than I thought it was when I was younger. So, I remember when I was a kid just wanting to, be there already, because I was already awake at, 13, 14. So I'm like, okay, let's just make this happen. Now I'm like, but it was interesting if you think about it, if you take some time to literally notice, invest your energy and your focus. But this is, where we have been really traveling to for seriously since the beginning of the age of Aquarius, almost 50 plus years. And so now it is breaking open. The light workers have been anchoring diligently the energy. And I feel like this year we are going to start to really co-create and create this new earth in a way that we will see and we will notice. And I know it doesn't look like that in the moment, but that's what the record keepers are saying.
Unless you pay attention to where it is happening and you are noticing. So that perspective and that shift of putting our energy into the growth of it rather than the deterioration is a significant factor of how we're awakening in consciousness and guiding the process.
Right. And just really, to me, the speeding up that we see, the the instant manifestation, the ability to create really quickly what your heart desires when you're in alignment. I mean, it's so exciting and so beautiful.
Yeah. So I want to ask you this question because it's so interesting that you talk about inverted programming. And I'm curious what your awareness is about the inverted program, how we interpreted a reality from that place, and how we were perhaps reading the Akashic records from that inverted perspective rather than the wisdom that was actually there. Or the wisdom was there and it was just we weren't able to receive it, or we were functioning from a different place that couldn't really put into action what was being made available to us.
So I think, of course, there's always multiple layers to every question and every answer. Part of it is that the Akashic record keepers literally pulled the energy of the Akasha away from Earth for 1,000 years because we misused and abused that energy and that information. And so it is only very recently, only in the last 30 or so years, that they have asked us, right? That was their original request. Help us re-anchor the Akash back to Earth so it is accessible again. So what I see is that people have often taken the information for their own gain, which is, of course, why it was pulled away. What we have often seen for a very long time in the Akashic record is the stories, the trauma and the drama, all of the dark and the negative. And so to me, the first thing I ever kind of saw, or it made me think, was life is so hard. Oh my gosh, like this is terrible. And so my intention was always, let me unravel, let me see if we can fix this, right? And so, and literally that makes sense because that's what we have come to do as light workers, to unravel and unwrite and deprogram all of this inverted, kind of dark consciousness and the energy that has kept us locked down in this pattern. And some of them are just huge and simple, right? Just believing in separation, believing that we are alone, believing that we have one life, right? I mean, that's even written into so many of our religions that have been here to keep us, again, locked down. So I would venture to say that it is not the Akash as much as the way we have been on this planet for the last, 10,000 years. And we're reading kind of the stories of that. But the ability to actually go into the quantum field, because the Akasha is part of source, part of quantum, that it is malleable, it is changeable, it is very cool to hang out actually in the quantum field and start to just see these old energies almost evaporate and just dissipate. And it's so much easier to heal through the quantum, right? Through the quantum Akash than to do all the healing tools that I was trained at for 8 years, and all of the things that even the record keepers have suggested that we use and do for the last 20 or 30 years to peel and shift so that we can finally be here and start to create and manifest really quickly and easily and be able to rewrite our world with ease and grace. So, it's an interesting piece, because I know that when we look at, the more Akash, and we look at the galactic aspects of the Akash, it's been a big story that we've played. And I think for many people, it's going to be a challenge to start to really let that story go. I mean, even the galactic war stories and obviously our Earth war stories. it's time to realize that we can stop and change that. And it's important, right? Right now. And to be able to transform. And it'll be interesting to see. I'm always kind of looking out across the hills that I see out of my window. And the record keeper said to me, I said, how am I going to know when we're in the fifth dimension? And they said, when you see the unicorns right over the hill.
Oh my God. Okay.
So I gotta keep my eye on that little ridge.
I've got the mountain there. I'm keeping my eyes peeled also. So when you speak of this overarching oppression, if you will, and manipulation for self-interest, and we see it play out in the world's reality that gets demonstrated through events that we witness and maybe even are participating in, what can we do to break that down into the individual listening right now? How does this apply to them individually? Where can you demonstrate, or where can you share perhaps where they've been, what's available now, and what's being made accessible?
Beautiful question. So for such a long time, we have been held really so heavily or in this very, very, very dense vibration of the third dimension. It has been programmed into us all of the low vibrational emotions. And for thousands and thousands of years, we didn't have any way to move past that because we didn't have the consciousness. There literally was not enough light on the planet, right? We're not talking about sunlight, right? We're talking more about that, you know, that galactic center realignment that is finally happening. And so we were literally trapped, and that was our plan, right? So if you imagine that we started out in, you know, I know the dimensions go way the heck up. So, you know, but somewhere I always get around the 14th dimension, 12th dimension, we start to say, let's play a different game. Let's try something new. Let's create this world, right? Let's bring Gaia down to, you know, down to Terra, down to Earth, and let's play this game down here. And we'll believe, you know, we'll be born and we'll have no memory of our infiniteness as a soul. We'll have no memories of the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of lifetimes that we've stayed, you know, we've been on this planet. And so really energetically, I believe that we were trapped in that karmic pattern, in that karmic, you know, wheel. And so as the energy got high enough, really in these last, you know, 20, 30 years, the higher energies, the higher vibrations were able to release that karmic wheel that has literally kept souls trapped on this earth. So it's interesting because I can access all of those galactic lives, but we rarely would leave Earth to go back there. We would get stuck here forever, right? I've had 1,000 lives on this planet, which I think is appalling, right? And so I'm like, wow, that's ridiculous, you know? But with that, often an intention that we can come back and we, you know, this time maybe it'll work. This time we can free ourselves. This time we can free humanity. But literally, we've had to wait for this time, you know, this alignment of history, this age of Aquarius. There's, you know, you can only do so much sometimes, but now you can really change your consciousness because there are thousands of patents that are pending with consciousness raising technology. I mean, there's some phenomenal information out there, including the ability to access your own Akashic records so that you can hang out in source and the quantum field every day, which is just transformational in that space of hanging out in the Akasha. You know, but just simple things, binaural beats, listening to some of those meditations, rewiring your brain, bringing high vibes into your life. There are so many options for humanity now. And I often will tell my students or my clients, it's like, yeah, we can clear a boatload of stuff. We can do phenomenal work in the Akasha, but every day it's important for us to raise our vibration, to see the good, to be the light, to, to be and live that. So that is truly what we are magnetizing in the world. So that we are continually magnetizing love and that beautiful high vibration of happiness and joy, and all of the forgiveness and the gratitude and all of those energies. So we are now at a place we can do this pretty easily, when I say, but it does take, like anything, getting up and going for a walk in nature, doing your meditation, opening your Akashic records, being of support to people in your life, right? So it is a process. And I believe we'll probably, at least through this year, while we're consciously saying, I'm raising my vibration, I'm raising my consciousness. How do I do that?
I love that. And when you speak of that, or it's, I've had PR agencies and other type of branding companies that reach out. It's like, you're a spiritual, you're a personal development company, you're this. It's like, nah, we're a lifestyle brand. And it really is. It's about creating the lifestyle of embodying it and living it and being in the vitality of what that invokes by being in relationship with those things that invoke a sense of purpose and passion and remembrance and love and compassion and empathy and leadership and godliness, all of it, the divinity that runs through us. And so when we can take more ownership of that truth and be in the lifestyle that supports that, that's when the magic really begins to flutter in ways that we haven't experienced previously.
Right. And, to me, the big part of these big aspects is that just knowing you have that ability, knowing that you can actually raise your consciousness. We don't just do it by sitting watching TV or whatever, but it is very doable. And honestly, it's not even expensive, those hikes in nature, that meditation, that breath work. I mean, there's a million.
Smiling at someone. Oh my God.
Right?
So much effort.
Just be a nice person, all of the above. And so it really is interestingly transformational. And so, what I really, and I was kind of laughing because I think you must have a very old bio, because it doesn't even have my two newest books on there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But when I wrote Your Soul Has a Plan, part of what the record keepers were really wanting me to make a point that, we are not victims. You wrote this plan, challenges it all, right? All of the, the trauma and the drama, the, good, bad, or awful parents or siblings or spouses or whatever it might have been. We literally wrote that into our plan. We're not a victim. It's not random. And so the faster and the more you kind of go, okay, I get that. I'm this infinite soul. And I wanted to learn about that trauma so I could help other people who have that trauma, so that I could, take that next step, whatever that is, help my neighbor, or, become a therapist, or, we all do it differently because you're a unique soul. Mm-hmm. But with all of that available to you, it's important to realize that we are here to take control of our lives, to make new choices, to really use that free will that we have.
Amazing. So do you think, or do you know, was the Akash and the libraries something that we kind of created before we came in as a lifeline to help to remember?
Yeah. So the way I hear it is it's kind of a natural part of the source energy that these journeys that our souls go on are naturally recorded in this ether that we call the Akash. And so for learning, for growth, for right, for lifeline is a good idea, you know, all of those aspects, you know. I would say that probably 20, 25 years ago, so I'm weirdly galactic. So when the record keepers asked me to start a school, I said, you know, why me? And they said, because you're very galactic and we'll give you all these galactic access keys. So at that point, there was one or two kind of access prayers that were on the planet. Interestingly, they were both Pleiadian. And I'm not a Pleiadian. So they gave me 8 more access keys, right? And so I thought that was really interesting because I started to get this very galactic information, whereas most of the past lives were on Earth. There were earthly past lives and earthly gifts and talents, and part of what we've come to learn about and part of what we've come to use to share the gifts, the purpose, all of that. So, but it does really work as, I like the word lifeline, but to me, it's like such a powerful remembrance that when I, you know, see one of my students go into the Akashic records and remember when they were a healer in the ancient mystery schools and they were like, oh, me? Oh my God, me? And it like, it changes your perspective of life, really, and who you are, because you have that almost tangible memory experience. Most of us use our, you know, a variety of our clairs. So you may see an image, but you feel it, you hear it, you smell it, you sense it, you just grok it in every way, and you can embody that truth of who you are, and it's transformational. So they're the simple, often simple ways to remember.
I love that. So what, and y'all, we're going to get into live Q&A in a little bit, because I want you guys to take advantage of this opportunity to ask Lisa your personal questions, because I know there's a lot of wisdom that's going to come through in questions that you have that I might not be asking. But I have to ask, Lisa, what compelled you to start teaching people to access their own records or accessing it for others?
The record keepers, I guess.
Okay, easy answer.
Me, you know, they have always compelled. So for me, it was very odd because, you know, 30 years ago, I was a energy healer, right? I had a little healing center. I do intuitive readings and energy healing. And occasionally I would get kind of this big booming voice. I would get this big energy, this big information that was so much more. It was very expanded, really. And I felt like, wow, that was, you know, all these different lifetimes and future and purposes, plans, right? Kind of this energy. And it took me a long time before I actually figured out who this was, because again, back then, nobody talked about the Akashic records. It wasn't a thing, you know? So even though I knew about them, even though I literally would go up to the record keepers and ask them to fill my clients up with their highest Akashic wisdom, so I knew I could access them and get that energy to come in. I could see it and feel it. The old training, the old stories had been that we were not allowed into the Akashic records. And that was very old because it was based on them pulling the energy away from the planet 1,000 years ago. So literally 30 years ago, we were just teetering in that place. And so they were coming forward and saying to me, hey, you know, help us here, help us anchor this back, start a school, teach people to do this. And, you know, of course, back then I would laugh because I had like 3 toddlers and I'd be like, totally got the wrong woman here, you know. But I kept saying, you know, why and how come I can hear you? and yeah, so that's what they said to me, because you were one of us. You were a record keeper. You hold a piece of the Akasha. And so you can hear us and you can help us re-anchor this energy. So
beautiful. I love that. And we're going to get into Lisa's course in a little bit, y'all. I want to take some Q&A. What you're speaking about and access to the Akasha now during these times, again, it would allude to one of 2 things for me. either we're in such dire straits that it needs to be open so that we don't wind up inverting within the inversion, destroying ourselves, or we're in such a space that we have such clarity or enough of it that we can wield that much authority, which it is, in reference to what's evolving for all of us. So it's either happening because we're desperate and something needs to happen now, or it's like, no, you've really progressed as a humanity and as a consciousness, and you can meet us in this frequency now.
Thankfully, it's the latter.
That's what I thought.
Thankfully, right? We have, but it's taken, probably millions of light workers over again these last, I'm going to say 80 years. I have met a lot of light workers who came in as that very, very, very first wave to make sure that they were holding enough of the light that we didn't have World War III. That was back in the, seriously in the 40s and 50s, right? I came in the mid 50s, probably with that same intention of like, ooh, time to save this planet, right? Let's make sure we don't blow that one up, don't blow that one up. So it's been, it's a long game. It really is. When you think you're an infinite soul, it's easier to understand that it's a huge, huge journey. And, I would say that probably one of the greatest gifts of accessing the Akashic records and now this, kind of longer journey for me is that you get to see kind of the juiciness of it. You get to see that we are truly creator beings, and we can choose that. We can choose to create and be and do that and be.
Hi,
So
Cheryl Hoffman, Cleveland,
very,
Ohio.
very important.
Right. Amazing. Amazing. All right. Well, Lisa, I got interrupted and distracted by someone that unmuted themselves. Y'all, I'll ask you to unmute when I call on you. So we'll get there in a little bit, I promise. Before we go into special offers, let's take a couple of callers if you're up for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's start with user 1310. Welcome to the call. If I get you to unmute, please let us know your name and what's your question for Lisa. Hi.
Hello. Thank you, John. Hello,
Yes.
Lisa.
Hi.
My name is Shabnam.
Beautiful name.
I'm at the point at my life that I kind of feel a little bit depressed, perhaps. Like, I think Lisa just said it. I feel like it's infinite, we come and go, and I'm feeling a bit tired of this coming. I'm like, okay, what's the point? We come here, we do whatever, we die, we come back, we do whatever, we die, we come back. I don't know.
Good news. I've got very, very good news. So I'm so glad you're here. We touched on it a little briefly in the very, very beginning, but what the record keepers say is that this truly is the time we've cleared. They have really the Akash, the higher energies, higher vibration has cleared the karmic patterns from the source energy, really from the Akashic records, from the quantum field. So it's fascinating because we as humans at this point, all we're doing is kind of finishing up some of the growth and some of the learning. So say you have a pattern of relationship struggle, it's about you kind of stepping into your power, understanding who you are, where the struggle is coming from, and really starting to heal it for yourself, releasing it, really raising your consciousness, of course, moving into the higher energies of love and gratitude and forgiveness, right? And then we're unstuck. That pattern will not come up again. And so I believe that we will no longer feel like we have to come back again and again. We are freed from that old karmic wheel of life now. So we are here to create into the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th dimension. And so now, to me, it's exciting.
Thank you for that. I actually, during a plant ceremony, maybe 6-7 years ago, I got that everything has cleared and the rules are changing and everything is going to start new. But I feel like for me, and I'm grateful for my life, Lisa, don't get me wrong. Like, I feel like you look at me, I have a fantastic life, but I feel at a standstill for the last 2-3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And being a Capricorn, being productive, it's very frustrating to me. I feel like I'm wasting my life. I don't know how to.
Yeah. 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 I know. I feel what you're saying. The really, you know, I'm right there with you. The last 12 years have been very frustrating for me because I've been awake since I was like 14, right? You know, and I'm like, can we get there already? But it really is freeing up. So now the steps and what I've realized is that doing everything that I can, you know, and not like a lot of hard work and, you know, but just making sure that I'm raising my vibration every day. And that is unique to each person. And so whether that's nature or meditation or playing with your, you know, child or grandchild or whoever that might be, all of the things that we can do here to bring some more joy into our lives. And then really, when we start to access the Akashic records, we can ask our record keepers, what would, you know, what am I missing that would bring me more fun or happiness? Joy is a really high vibration. It's up there around 700. So if you go with happiness, that's more around 400. It's more accessible for us as humans. So we have to, you know, climb these little ladders, right? So happy is a great place, right? Peace is really lovely. Expansion, right? And so we start to find little ways. And as we do that, we break through some of these old patterns. It's like we're stuck in the mud. And so you have to keep kind of pulling your feet out and then finding your way to the beautiful green grass or into that blue ocean, like I like to hang out in, right? I'm like, oh, the blue water. So it's a process. You know, it hasn't been an instantaneous magical thing yet. I'm big fan of magic, so I'm not going to say it's not going to happen and be magical for you, but finding little ways to bring more happiness and more joy into your life. So let's see how that feels.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
And I think it's also important to understand the cycles we've been also, because there has been cycles of tremendous karmic clearing where we can't repeat the history because that can't define us anymore, because we've let go, like Lisa said, of that inverted consciousness. And so as we're redefining, there's kind of like that still space in between that we don't know how to create anew because we can't create from the past. And so how do we access the new energies that we want? Well, we're attuning into that higher consciousness, the 400 to 500, 700, the 900 on that scale. And so by being in relationship with those things that evoke those responses in us in integrity, in their innocence, we start to activate that. And then we start reigniting, like the switch gets turned on again for, oh, wow, I have like my purpose for joy. There's a passion for living. There's a vitality that starts emerging. And so being in the curiosity of what you have rather than what you don't have is another high vibrational impulse into where it is that you truly want to be. And if we're in the space where I feel heavy or dredgy and I'm not getting there, that's actually a good sign, because it means you're leaving the past behind. The history isn't running the show as much, and you know that there's something else. And so keep riding that wave.
Oh, thank you.
It is an amazing time in history again, you know, and it takes our focus and our you know, our attention where we've put that on, you know, what we didn't want. Now it's time to put that focus on what you are creating, what your heart desires, right? What your soul desires to create as we go forward into these higher vibrational, you know, 4D, 5D worlds, creating a new earth. So, even if it's not instantaneous, it is a process, and you start to see it pretty quickly, I'm going to say. So find a couple of things. That's what I suggest. That's what I suggested to myself last year. And it actually made a big difference, because some days I work 7 days a week because I love what I do, but then I forgot to stop and have fun. Yeah. So now I'm having more fun. And it makes a big difference, right?
Yeah.
That sounds wonderful. Thank you. Thank you both so much.
Thank you for your question and for bringing this up in the intelligence that's running through today. It's really important. Blessings to you.
Thank you.
I'm going to take more Q&A. So y'all hang on for a little bit. I promise I'm going to get to. Those of y'all who are saying that you want a reading from Lisa, you can type your question into the chat box or find the little hand on your screen. Click on it, raise your hand, and I'm going to try to get through as many callers as we can. But I don't want to pass up on the opportunity, because Lisa's teaching how to access, again, look at her background, Akashic knowing. Yeah. And this isn't just the Akash knows, this is a knowing for you. This technology, this wisdom, this benevolence, if you will, of records that were stored specifically for you. It's accessible. And with a little bit of knowing, what you can impart into your life by being in relationship with this knowing, it's a game changer. So Lisa has an amazing opportunity that's, again, significantly discounted from what she offers online, that we get to present to y'all here on Beyond the Ordinary. And I highly recommend that you just sit back and receive how Lisa explains this. And if it calls you, I would highly recommend that you participate and that you empower yourself in this incredible way. So the link for the special offer, if you will, it's in the chat box. It's in blue. Click on that, or just look in the video underneath you, and there should be a special offer button. I don't know see your screen, so I don't know, but I believe it's still there. Click on that. And Lisa, if you would you guide us into what you're offering through this course?
Absolutely. So really, one of the things that I was blessed to receive from the Akashic record keepers is what I call a 5-step wisdom prayer system. Mm-hmm. So when they started to talk to me and asked me to help them anchor the Akasha back on the planet so it was accessible, of course, as we started to do that, they said, please start a school and teach people. We'd like you to teach humanity. Which again, let's just say a little overwhelming. I'm like, you guys are really humanity, but whatever, I'm giving it a try. So here we are. So I said, how do I do that? So here to me is one of the great aspects of learning to read your own records, because you get to ask your record keepers, and I'll just go back one step. So every single person has their own personal Akashic record. I like to see it kind of like a library. I think that's an easier way to wrap our head around it, right? So you have your own personal big library with thousands or millions of books, and you have your own set of Akashic librarians. So these beautiful beings of light are pure love, pure source energy, and they are in service to you. We don't have collective ones. Every person has their own set, not just one, set of Akashic record keepers. And so it was the record keepers who asked me to bring this forward. And when I said, how do I do that? They said, we will give you everything you need. And what they gave me is this process that I teach in this workshop. It's a 5-step wisdom prayer system. Very simple steps so that everybody can follow it. You really, set your intention. There are 3 access keys, which is like, I like to imagine that these sacred keys in the form of a prayer helps you to unlock the door to move into your Akashic records, because those doors are locked. So for most of us, we need to consciously say, I want to access this information and transform my life, learn about who I am. And so there's access keys. There are 7 healing prayers to help you do some healing and clearing work when you work in the Akashic records. And in this program, it has 6 2-hour segments of instruction of me teaching you exactly how to do this. There's like a 24-page manual. Everything is written out because I talk fast, but the videos all have slides. You have a manual to follow along. And so the record keepers have asked me to do this, to make this course really simple so that people can follow through. So you have 12 hours of teaching, step by step by step. There are exercises to practice opening your records, asking your record keepers questions, writing down some information, right? Did you close your records? Do a little healing with the healing prayers that we've been given, as well as there's an extra, a few pre-recorded mentoring sessions that answer a lot of people's questions about, is that really the records? How do I know? So all of those human aspects of questioning that we all tend to go through, there's an extra few hours of me answering all of those questions, plus many just bonuses where I am teaching you some very profound guided visualization tools to transform your life. One of them I teach, I do a 45-minute pre-recorded healing call where I help you to clear the blocks to your 6 senses. So I help you to clear your clairvoyance, clairaudience, claircognizance, clairsentience, so that you can access your records. So you get that as a 45-minute healing. And you can listen to that again and again as we're peeling some of the old energies away that we've had from a lifetime full of, believing that we can't do this, we can't see, we can't hear, we don't have those gifts. So that's a bonus, along with Rainbow Shield, to help you be the sovereign of your life, to really own your own space, to get really grounded and embodied so we can create and manifest in this world, in this plane. It's a simple tool, and profound when we actually can ground ourselves, align to our soul, create a rainbow shield, own this space that we call our body. Then we can magnetize what we desire right to ourselves. Other meditations, calling back your energy. There's a 25% discount on a private one-on-one reading with me. We have our private Facebook group. So there is so much information and wisdom that I share with you in this course, so that everybody can actually learn to read their own personal Akashic record, have conversations with your record keepers, ask them questions that are important to you, right? And get information to, what's my next baby step to change my life? How do I do that? I mean, I've spent my life asking the record keepers things like that. Like, they say, write a book. And I say, okay, how? And they give me 2 simple steps and I do it, right? Because they're there with you. Their energy is there supporting you. They are your record keepers, and they want to help you transform your life.
That's so powerful. This is $222. It includes a 25% discount to work with Lisa. That's already more than half the price of what you're paying for the course. And Lisa, I want to ask you, what results have people reported that they've experienced from participating in this type of course with you?
So people often will say things, this is a miracle, right? I've had this question about, why would I have this trauma in my life and I could never understand it? And maybe I've felt kind of victimized. And when they go into their Akashic records, they feel the love and they understand what they as a soul wanted to learn from that situation. We can let go of a lot of the emotional pain and trauma, as well as the record keepers are very, very helpful in helping us to release a lot of those energies in the Akasha. And so all of a sudden we move out of being a victim and we start to step into our power and make a new choice, transform our lives. And so I've certainly had lots and lots of students who have, gone off, created businesses. Some of them have become Akashic record consultants with my school. People go out and they really superpower what they have maybe already had as a healing career. And so they're really getting information. How can I move forward with ease and grace? And it's a daily process, right? We don't just ask once. It's not one answer for one question. Every day we can say, so what's next now, right? I did those 2 steps. I've done, what you've suggested. What else can I know? What else can I do? What else can I clear? And so we're on a really, in this flow of understanding who we are as these great infinite souls with so many gifts and so many talents. And then we can just start to step into them and transform our lives.
Yeah. Part of the huge appreciation I have for this, because it also trains us to the point where we get to experience the truth that we're not really alone as we might think we may be. And so by having that relationship, seeing how that support shows up from an etheric relationship and it translates into the life that we're creating is profound. And that for me frees us in so many ways from the thoughts of separation, of being the odd man out, of not being understood, of not having direction. And it's profound. It's profound when we build those relationships and we find that those energies want to be in relationship with us authentically as well. So it's beautiful what you're teaching here, Lisa. So grateful. Y'all, the link for the special offer is in the chat box. You see the box below and the video box. Y'all listening on the replay should be in the same place. Just click on it and start accessing this. It's going to be powerful for you.
We have an amazing team. It really is. Most of us have a dozen or so Akashic record keepers. So you really are not alone.
Okay. You have a posse. Yeah. The posse Akashic team.
Right. Awesome. I know. It is so cool because, it's almost like you have this whole team. So depending on the questions you ask, different members of the team focus on different aspects of our lives. So you have Akashic masters who are more galactic, some who are better with the more human aspects of the world, some who are really here to help us learn and grow and understand karmic patterns, some who are there like the Akashic masters are the big loud ones who always say, time to write another book.
From your voice to my pen, right? Amazing. Oh my God, y'all. It'll be fun too. It's definitely fun in opening up these relationships. And again, that newfound passion and purpose and vigor and vitality and creation. It's just, and it's time. What a beautiful time, because there really is a propulsion to accessing greater portions of consciousness. I can't feel into a time where the veil was thinner than it is now in the most beautiful way. And so good job, everybody, for doing what you're doing up to now and what else is possible now. And you get to discover that with your team. So again, take advantage of that. Lisa, can we get into some more Q&A?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Let's continue. All right. User 772, welcome to the call. What is your name and what's your question for Lisa?
Hi, my name is Agatha. It's lovely meeting you guys. Thank you for hosting this, John, and thanks for being
Yes.
with us, Lisa. So can we ask personal questions? I kept on going on and off with the hand because I'm like, I don't want to make this about me, but I have a question.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Go right ahead.
Thank you. Well, and you were just prefacing it also. I would love to know my next baby step in the highest elevated path in this timeline or lifetime.
So do I get to use this as a teaching moment? So as I will teach you, if you do the Akashic record, if you jump in with my Akashic class, is when we ask questions that are a little bit more focused, we actually get more focused answers, right? So, one of the things I've learned after doing 10,000 readings or some crazy thing like that,
Wow.
is that they want to answer our questions, right? But sometimes when they're so big, it feels very vague. So anyway, I'm just want to share that with everyone. And especially those of you who go on and take my workshop, because we want to start to, be kind of specific, because there's so many choices, right? We're infinite souls. We write a very complicated soul plan. You've got 50 or more soul contracts with other people. You've got a half a dozen or more purposes. Right? So it comes to kind of to the focus. So do you want to focus, or I'll just tell you what I hear?
Thank you for the teaching moments. It's for my profession, passion, and the work that I'm doing in the collective. I'd love to know next steps.
Okay. Interesting. So just what I'm hearing is that it feels like you're at kind of a fork in the road. And it becomes very, very important for you to spend some time kind of almost in that uncomfortable aspect of however that fork in the road shows up for you, because there's some energy to let go of. There's some beliefs to still release that will really kind of push you down, really shoot you. It actually feels like propel, but there's a word I can't quite get. I'm like propel. Really quickly down that path. And so honestly, what they're saying is take a breath. We are really at such an interesting time in history, right? Even between now and a month from now. Not think, not use your mind. They want you to really access through your heart how you feel about everything and feel into all of that. And then that fork, I keep seeing you go left, but I don't know what that means. Anyway, that fork will become clear, and it will be, it feels like an aha moment for you. Like, oh, I wouldn't have thought of doing that. I hadn't planned on doing that. So there's something different. There's something new that is more in aligned with who you are and what you've come to create.
Thank you. Thank you so much, both of you.
Yes, of course. And, when we do one-on-one readings, I actually spend a few minutes, open your records, talk to your record keepers, kind of get deep into the Akash, whereas we're not, I don't even have your whole name. So of course, in one-on-ones, we go much deeper, much more specific information, but that's what I get. So it feels like there's something really kind of exciting and new that will catapult you. That's the word, catapult.
Amazing. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your joy. Thank you for the light that you bring. And equally, as we give that so abundantly, it's like, also, Lisa, what are we ready to receive in that? Because we're so quick to give it back out. We're so quick, and it's just like overwhelms in us, and it's a practice. because it's like we become these generators for, and the more that we can sit in the power of that receptivity of that which we're being and let it just amplify for a little bit, even though it could feel like uncomfortable because we just want to dull it out, you become potent portals for possibilities that we don't even know yet what can be created from there.
It's exciting. It's not easy, but it's exciting when we give ourselves that time and space to let the new energy, the new information really drop in and be like, wow, that's so cool.
Amazing. And the blessings to you. Thank you so much. Wonderful to meet you. And everybody, again, the special offer has a 25% discount on a one-on-one session with Lisa as well. So if that's something that calls you, it's well worth the price with the full package. Take advantage of it. And thank you so much. All right, let's continue here. How about we go to user 1676. Welcome to the call.
Thank you. Hi there.
Hi.
My name is Louise. And my original question was, how can I access my talents in my previous lives in the Akashic? But I see now that I need to take Lisa's course. So,
That's a perfect answer.
and I want to thank you both, John and Lisa. I follow you whenever I can, and thank you for your light and conscious, and I just love it. So my question now is, do you cover any of the processes in any of your books?
Yes, I do. Yes, as a matter of fact, my newest book, which is called Akasha, you can find, and you know, I talk about a lot of the processes and the how-tos. And so if you want to start there, that's a good one. There's 20 stories of people's experiences of transformational situations by dealing with the Akasha. So yes, so that's a great place to start. And then if you're not quite ready to jump into the class, but literally once you, and for more than half price off, it's a good deal on learning to access your records if you can. And I know everybody, you know, doesn't have that extra money, but it is a gift that keeps giving, right? Because to me, I say, you know, I talk to my record keepers every day. I'm never alone, actually. And if I don't talk to them, they talk to me. You know, help, guidance, love, pure source energy, healing. They raise our vibration. So even if you don't have a question, I always suggest to my students, just open your records and hang out in source energy. Right? Just pure love. Do some of the meditations, read a couple of the healing prayers, get a little healing, a little love, just,
Lisa, I love that you say that, because I've been doing that over the last couple of months and sitting in that space, and it's opening that space, not with the intention of going anywhere, not listening to a meditation, maybe it's a music that I can feel, but I'm not expecting it to guide me anywhere. And what I'm experiencing, Lisa, is a relationship with what I would call my soul. I can't describe it as anything else. And these energies that expand and contract within myself, but there's a potency that's igniting in that field, kind of like when we were talking about Agatha. You just sit with what's being gifted to you in that presence and just be with it and be receptive. We don't have the questions, what's for us, just like it comes. Or if there's something that's out of balance in our thinking, in our environment or whatever, we'll find that it lands us in a place where the wisdom of the higher vibrational state of whatever we believe that is occurring somehow naturally starts to come in from that stillness. It's amazing.
Absolutely. It is, well, I mean, it's just pure divine source energy, really, in this quantum field of all things. And so you're literally sitting in the vibration of infinite possibility. And that is transformational without really doing anything but opening your records and hanging out in infinite possibilities. And then things drop in, right? All of a sudden you go, oh, I never thought of that. Even if you didn't ask the question, sometimes that next perfect step shows up because we've given ourselves the time. We're in this beautiful energy of love. We're in infinite possibilities. And that, even in this simple way, I'll tell my students, I'll say, right? Sometimes we have a lot of questions, and sometimes it's just about this grace, really just being in that grace and love of the divine.
I love that you said in the not doing anything. And for me, that what I heard right afterwards, in the not doing anything, we're being everything. It's like, feel that just running through. Amazing. Look, thank you so much for calling in. I'm excited for you to take the course from Lisa. You had another question, or?
How long is the special available?
Oh, we have it up through the end of the season, I believe, Lisa. So towards the beginning of May, it'll be up there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
All right. You're so welcome. Yeah. Thank you. All right. Let's continue here. How about we go to user 1098. Welcome to the call.
Am I there?
You're here. You're
Hello?
here.
We hear you.
Hi.
I'm a novice at this, so excuse me for my being baffled.
No problem.
Are some of us more galactic than earthly?
Good
because
question.
I don't seem to fit in so much of the earthly things.
Yeah.
So I guess
Absolutely.
that's my...
Yeah, great question. Great question. And especially, I'm going to say that some of the first waivers who, you know, came in 60, 70, 80 years ago, some of us were very earthy and some were very galactic, right? And what I'm seeing with the kids that are really coming in is we're going to have a lot of children coming in who have had little or no earthly lives because they're coming in to help us truly transform with, you know, new ideas, out of the box thinking, inventions, just, you know, ways to create this new earth. So yes, it's absolutely possible. Highly likely, they're saying you are much more galactic. I'm only feeling about, and this sounds like a lot, but it's not in the scheme of things, somewhere around 200 earthly lives. So really over the last 10 or 12,000 years, and then plus sometimes we've come in other iterations of humans. Yeah, so 200 lives on Earth isn't very many. I've spent 1,000, so you know.
Well, so how many of those was that consecutive back to back, or have I been out in the galaxy somewhere else and come back?
Yes.
As needed.
Yeah.
Or...
Yeah. Yes. The way I hear it is you've spent like I get like 3 chunks of time where you would come in for kind of a bunch of lives over, say, 300 years or, you know, 500 years. You might come in a big chunk and then you go way out and don't want to have anything to do with Earth for a while. And then you're like, okay, maybe they've progressed. I can come back now.
Yeah. And something that I want to ask for your behalf as we move on to another caller. Lisa, how's this information helpful? Because it's wonderful to be curious about the galactic origins or where I come from and why I feel kind of a little like not belonging, but yet we're here in human form and this is the present. How does this understanding or this connection into those energies assist us here now and what we're here to do?
Yeah. Well, it really is powerful because when we're really galactic beings, right, we carry a little bit of a different energy. We can carry some different kind of codes. We hold different information that we're coming to help bring that information back to humanity. We're often more conscious about anchoring higher consciousness on the planet because we haven't been trapped in this amnesia that we get on Earth. So as we start to realize, oh, I'm so much more than just this, then that helps us again to start to own the greater truth of who we are, to really be more of the light, shine the light out, hopefully let go of any, concern or worry or fear of being different, and knowing that you've come in service to really helping humanity to awaken. And that's why you've come back like 3 chunks of time over this last, 12,000 years. And now you're here at this beautiful precipice in time. So I'm hearing that the work you do, even if it's just meditation, being the love, being support to other people, being forgiveness, just like when monks would sit and meditate in a cave, they didn't have to interact. For those of you who are not out in the world much, it's fine too. That meditation, that energy is part of the collective unconscious and conscious energies. And so by meditating, by being love, by being light, we are helping to transform the world.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for your question and for coming on. And again, for bringing light to why this information matters, why we're so curious, and how connecting with it really is a path to liberation, and also part of what the Akash has to share with us through those threads that are uniquely us, for us. And so it's wonderful to have that curiosity and to be able to ground it in this consciousness now, because it is a liberating force. Lisa's user 1098, I wish I could see y'all's names on here, but user 1098 is asking, I feel I should be making bigger strides forward as spirit seems to be asking me to hold and plant energies both etherically and in person in numerous places in our country. Not exact a question, but right. What would you say to that person as far as maybe what their awareness is about that, and how the Akash can help them as well?
So, what the record keepers always say, of course, there is never any judgment in the Akashic field. We can only do what we can do, right? We are in this relatively dense planet, and we have whatever amounts of money to travel, ability to travel, drive, fly, whatever that might be. It with the intention of holding that energy, again, even through things like meditation, being in nature, connecting to the earth. I always love to go, I'm very obviously watery, so I love to go and plant my feet in the ocean and talk to the mer energies, the dolphins, the whales, just all of the, even the water spirits. When I was up in Scotland, I had to go stick my hands in the water and connect to the water dragons up there. So we do whatever you can wherever you are. And if you can travel, and really activating energies at sacred sites is so, so fun and so beautiful if you can do that. And if you can't, please don't judge yourself. The record keepers don't.
Lovely. I love that. And thank you for doing and showing up in the way that you do, activating and being part of what feeds so beautifully through the vibration and benevolence that you carry. To awaken these portals for all of us. So wonderful. I'm going to get to another live caller here in a second, but I want to ask this question that came in from Leanne. So Leanne is asking a very vulnerable question. She says, speaking from a feminine energy and sensual energy, I feel unlovable and desirable. Is there something in my records that explains that, or that will help me release and heal that?
Yeah, beautiful question. So one of the biggest group collective contracts on the planet is about rebalancing divine feminine and divine masculine. And so it's going to show up in every single way, whether it's in a marriage, in a business partnership, in your family, within yourself, right? We all have a masculine and a feminine channel in our bodies. So balancing that, it's been really interesting to me, because part of what we're doing is rebalancing the out of balance views of masculinity and femininity. And I believe that we will probably become a lot more maybe unisex, for lack of a better word for it. But it's very much about balance. And what you're speaking of is really a lot of judgment because of, you know, how you see yourself or how you know or believe that other people see you. So part of what we come back to do is to heal those wounds. And when we heal that for ourselves, then we're healing it for humanity. So we have, you know, these big ways of working with these kind of energies. Like I say, you know, you could do it in some bigger planetary ways, or really there's big aspects about the imbalance in corporate America. There's so much imbalance in just the way we view ourselves as a woman or as a man, and what we judge as good or bad or right or wrong. So it's part of a huge contract, and you know, they're not easy because it's a big transformation we're trying to make for everyone. And the other thing the record keepers want me to say is that until we can rebalance divine feminine and divine masculine, right, bring it into equality and balance and really love, we will not be able to move up into the, you know, bring the earth up into the fourth and the fifth and the sixth dimensions. We cannot move that high with this huge imbalance on our planet. So I appreciate you for everything you do to work on that. And they really are huge, important contracts to continue to find ways to heal the trauma and the pain, because of course, in your Akashic records, to answer your original question, I get that there's a lot of different lifetimes, relatively recently, which to me is in the last 1,000 or 2,000 years, where there has been a lot of pain and imbalance around being a woman, right? And so there would be a lot of work that you could also do in the Akashic records by learning to access your own Akash.
When we work in the Akash in that way, is there an alchemy that happens with guilt and shame and this deep anger also that repressed, that it has to come up to reconciliation somehow?
Yes. Yeah. So again, because the Akashic records is part of source and part of the quantum field, there is no time and space. So we can start to be able to see, feel, know, get information about these other lifetimes. And as we understand, right, as we can kind of see where these were triggered, see those lifetimes where we had that pain, really very simply through that process of witnessing these other lifetimes, these other traumas, these other challenges, we literally energetically start to let that pain go, that trauma, that guilt, that shame. Literally, in my class, I teach people how to ask questions like, is there, you know, what else can we clear? Is there a karmic pattern I can let go of? Is there a healing prayer I can use to start to release that energy? And of course, I always teach a forgiveness prayer, because it's one of our biggest challenges as humans is we forget to forgive ourselves. And so really all of that healing, right, begins right there with forgiving ourselves for the way we judge ourselves and the way that has affected us, you know, over all these thousands of years. So yes, there's a lot of tools in this course. And in my, you know, I can obviously talk. So just imagine 12 hours of me teaching you this stuff. That's a lot to learn.
Awesome. Oh my God, a lot, but how fun in the way that you explain it, what you bring us into. And again, there's a manual that corresponds with it. So it's all written and
Yes.
subscribe. So it's just accessible in so many different ways. Y'all, the link for the special offer, it's in the chat box. It's below the video where you're watching. Click on that. It includes all the recordings, the manuals. It also includes a 25% discount where we're reading with Lisa, which I highly recommend also. It's absolutely amazing. And it's there for you because you've tuned in to Beyond the Ordinary and we get to offer those amazing special offers. So thank you for being here for that. And Lisa, I want to take another live caller before we end, but y'all, if you want to come back and listen to the replay, we always run the replays. It'll just take us a couple of hours to render the video. We'll send out an email link so you'll know it's ready, but you can always access replays by going to beyondtheordinaryshow.com/replay. So just know that that's there. And with that, I want to take caller user 422. Welcome to the call.
Hi, John. Hi, Lisa.
What is your name and what's your question for Lisa?
My name is Melissa. And my question is, I am thinking about changing career paths. I've been doing what I'm doing now for the last 13 years. I know I look young, but it's been a while. And so I'm thinking about doing a course, and it's almost a $30,000 course. And I'm wondering if I should invest that amount of money. I have, it's a big financial commitment, and I have a lot of family that I could be helping with that money as well. Or should I look for other avenues to maybe achieve the same thing?
Wow. So in all honesty, I have not opened your record, so I do not want to take that responsibility of giving you a yes or a no, but I will tell you what I hear. Right. I think it's important that we use our gifts responsibly. And so that's why I want to say that in all honesty, I do hear that there is something else that feels much more in alignment to your soul, to your soul's plan, to your gifts, to your talents. I mean, it just feels like you have a lot of wisdom, spiritual wisdom, healing gifts, all of that feels really powerful for you to access. And I don't know that, if that is the perfect, course, because seriously, I would open your records and I would ask the name and I would ask the record keepers really specifically if that specific thing is highest and best interest, and because we don't really have that ability right this minute. But hopefully that is helpful. So I would go a little bit more for a little more research, and maybe you do my class and get the 25% discount on a one-on-one reading with me.
Yeah, no, that is
a $30,000 course. Yeah. It's
yeah, right. For $222, let me just say, you can learn so much stuff about, I'm gonna have to raise my rates, John.
No, please don't. I want a reading too. It's so worth every penny of it and so much more. So amazing. Blessings to you on the journey that you're exploring, and how exciting.
Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I love it. I used to love when people used to tell me this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Y'all remember that? You're going on a trip, it's a one in a lifetime opportunity, or this is the one. And I'd always look at people like they're just like, it's like, what are you talking about? And that whole lack type of thing, that maybe it was an age thing that doesn't exist so much anymore, or the feeling that this is the only avenue. From my direct experience, I know that if something is truly for me, that the avenues will show up and grace will direct. And if I happen to miss it once or twice, or maybe even 3 times, and it truly is for me, that the avenue still becomes available as long as I maintain integrity within myself. And again, it's the Akash also saying, no, you're not going to manipulate this so that you can try to create something out of a place that is misaligned, where your soul is taking you or wanting to direct you, trying to control and invert for something else. But again, where we remain in the integrity, the innocence of where that knowing is taking us, you won't miss a thing. It'll show up for you, and you'll know your yes when it's a yes. And your nose will just mean, hey, just pause for a second and kind of breathe, and we'll figure it out together.
Yeah,
With
that
all this
resonates.
energy changing, I would take a bunch of breaths.
I'm taking them. Amazing. Well, blessings to you on your journey, and good luck on what you're doing, and way to show up for yourself and for your family in those questions.
Thank you.
It's wonderful. Lisa, this is so much fun with you. We could just go forever. But I want to thank you so much for, well, just for your being first, the generosity that you put into the special offer, what you're teaching, how you're teaching it, the discount that you're giving us, the access to discount to work with you one-on-one, and considering you've been on all these big shows and all these people are reaching out to you and wanting to work with you, for you to make yourself available in this way is truly a gift. So thank you for showing up for this community in the way that you have, and for the work that you're doing, and for just being such a beautiful light and someone that we can relate to on a heart-to-heart basis for what we're going through, what we're experiencing, what we're expanding into. And so when we have that type of connection, it makes so much more sense. Thank you.
Thank you. I always love joining you. I know. I'll have to come visit in Hawaii one day.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will. My house is your house. Please do. So it'd be wonderful to have you. Thank you for being here. And thank all of y'all for being on the call today. Y'all are freaking amazing. I'm just so blessed to be here every day with this energy, and it's a testament to the love and the light that y'all carry, truly. So deep bows to every single one of you. I love y'all, and I look forward to seeing y'all on the next call. Bye, y'all.